promotes startup activities, which promotes acceleration, and we have our own, one of the, in fact, the country's largest prototyping facility called the T-Works, in which we want to provide space for this robotics accelerator also. The third very important thing is that how do you create a pool of talented manpower? We know that robotics is an area in all these four verticals that I spoke about: healthcare, agriculture, industrial automation, consumer robotics. Lots of activities are going to happen down the line. And tomorrow, the level of robotics usage which we see, let us say in China or West, India can potentially catch up. But there's only one question mark. Do you have enough number of talented people who understand this hardware, the software, etc.? So we have now started running courses in our colleges. We have an institution called the Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge, and through TASK we have identified a few agencies who have programs in robotics, and we are trying to introduce those programs in our colleges. And our target is that in another maybe 2 years or so, there must be at least a pool of 10,000 students who have done some kind of basic or advanced course in robotics. The fourth very important pillar of our policy is deployment of robotics in the government itself. I mean, it's very easy to preach to others that you do this, don't miss the bus, technology is there, everyone is using, you also use it, but is the government itself using? I mean, this is something very unique about Telangana, that whatever new technology that we advocate, the first use cases always come from the government itself. So we are looking at all these four verticals that I spoke about: agriculture, healthcare, industrial automation, and consumer robotics. And we are identifying government agencies where these applications can be institutionalized. And regarding healthcare, I'm very happy to share with you, those who don't live in Hyderabad will not be aware of this healthcare facility. But the most premier government healthcare facility in Hyderabad is called NIMS, N-I-M-S, the Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences. And again, I'm very happy to share with you that just about, it happened just a few weeks ago, Nizam's has procured state-of-the-art the Da Vinci Xi 4th version robot, and has set up a fully equipped robotic surgery lab. And it has invested about close to 350 million Indian rupees, $4 million, to set up that facility. Even in and what the NIMS director was telling me the other day, that hardly anyone in India today has the 4th generation Xi, which they have been able to procure. And they want to do more and more. So, as I said, this is a very important part of our policy, that the government leads by example. And in other verticals also, something similar is happening. And the fifth vertical, the fifth pillar rather, of our policy is again something which Dr. Sinha alluded to, which is about the responsible deployment of technology. We know that patient care requires lots of sensitivity. We also need to ensure that liabilities, etc., are minimized. And therefore, the kind of training that is required, the kind of standards that are required, all of you are healthcare professionals, you will be aware about the accreditation norms, global norms, national norms, and how much of precision is that needs to be followed to achieve those norms. We want to set similar standards for robotic surgeons. We also want to prescribe minimum number of hours, like an airline pilot. Unless you fly for X number of hours, you don't get your license. So these kind of things we are discussing internally, and we'll be happy to engage with AGRS to understand what kind of global standards are practiced, because as Dr. Sinha mentioned, we are looking at European partnerships. So we would like to understand what are the good practices which are followed elsewhere rather than reinventing the wheel. But responsible robotics is again something which is very fundamental in our policy. So these are the 5 pillars of our policy. To reiterate, encourage the private sector to do all their hardware and software manufacturing, development, R&D in Hyderabad, to encourage innovation and research, to promote courses in our colleges so that talent pool is available, a pipeline of talent is created, to be the first in the government itself to adopt, to deploy, to bring use cases, and finally the responsible deployment of robots. We are always aware that healthcare is one area where an amazing array of technologies can be demonstrated. In fact, some of you again may not be aware, but when COVID happened and when I saw Sangita Garu, this recollection came to my mind. We became the first state, the first government, the first ever instance anywhere in the country where drones were utilized to deliver medicines and blood samples and vaccines to a remote location. So it was a collaborative effort between Apollo Hospital, World Economic Forum and Telangana government. This project was called Medicine from the Sky. So, normally when we talk about drones, right now the typical drone application is within what is called the line of sight. Like it starts from Sheraton and maybe 500 meters down the line, it is kind of delivered. But the deployment that we showcased, and I remember the Union Civil Aviation Minister had come to witness this, we were able to fly that drone carrying a payload of medicines, vaccines, blood, etc. to almost 50 kilometers. And it was successfully done. And now I was told that many northeast states are doing it regularly. So again, as I said, healthcare is one area where amazing amount of tech applications are possible. And again, I'm very proud to share this with you that Hyderabad has become that hub where all this is happening at an amazing pace, because this is a city where my minister keeps mentioning this, that Hyderabad has that uniqueness where biology meets technology, where life sciences meets data sciences, because we are the life sciences and healthcare capital of the country. In some aspects, we are the healthcare capital of the world also, particularly in vaccine production. Some of you, again, may not know this, but 1/3 of world's vaccines are made in Hyderabad. We manufacture 9 billion doses of vaccines every year, out of 27 billion. And in another 2 years, this 9 billion of Hyderabad will become 14 billion, because all the players are ramping up big time. So, of the global share, of which we have 33% now, our share will go further. So, healthcare, life sciences is very strong here. We are also a very important tech hub. I mean, it's a nice coincidence that this conference is happening in this hotel. If you look around, we are surrounded by tech giants. There are close to 900,000 people who work in tech sector, and some of the who's who, some of the most marquee tech companies of the world are present here, and they are not present in some notional way. In fact, if you look at which are the biggest tech companies in the world today, if you just search through any search engine, some names will come. These are the most commonly known names like Apple and Google, Microsoft and Amazon and Facebook. You will discover that each of these, all 5 of these, have their largest presence outside their own headquarters. Their headquarters coincidentally is in the US, but outside their headquarters, anywhere else in the world, their second biggest presence is in Hyderabad. And each of them is doing cutting edge work. You will be again pleasantly surprised to know that most of the Alexa programming, development of algorithm is done from Amazon's Hyderabad office. All the Microsoft, earlier Windows 8 and all, they used to be developed from the Microsoft Hyderabad office. Now they are focused to cloud. Each of these companies does cutting edge work here. So amazing kind of prowess in technology. And if you match biology, if you match life sciences with that, this is the place where all this action is happening. And I would urge upon ARGS also, you'll be well, AGRS rather, you'll be well networked in the robotic surgery community. Give us leads, give us connects with companies. We know that right now, apart from Da Vinci, there is an Indian manufacturing also called Mantra, which is believed to be more cost effective, though I don't know how many people use it. Even NIMS chose to go with Da Vinci, and I was asking Dr. Joshi earlier, in her hospital also, they use XI. But I'm sure there are some users of other products as well, so other platforms as well. So let us try to bring as many of them as possible to Hyderabad, create a rich ecosystem. And since you are here, the headquarters of AGRS is here, we can play that role of developing something very unique for India and disseminating it throughout the country and throughout the world as well. So wishing you all the best, and hope to remain connected with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jayesh for that insight. Indeed, just like any other skill-based procedure that is done, such as flying, even surgical, whether it's robotic, should have a checklist and it should be followed religiously before you do a surgery. I'd like to invite Ruma Sinha to introduce our chief guest.
Thank you for all of you for being here, and let me introduce Dr. Mrs. Sangita Reddy. She's the Joint Managing Director of our Apollo Hospital Groups of India, and it's a big chain for people coming from abroad. She's also the chair for the G20 Empower, and I think over the last 1 year with this G20 happening in India, ma'am has played a very, very significant role in the empowerment of women and women-related issues. So I think it's apt for ma'am to be here today. As I'm introducing ma'am, I will fail my duty to actually mention our chairman, sir, Dr. Pratap C. Reddy, who is a visionary. And I think his vision brought the robot to India. When the initial robot came to India in 2012 or 2011, he immediately deployed it in 4 hospitals across the country. And I'm standing here today because I was just at the right time, right place. I was just at the institute where it was installed, and I had an opportunity to work. So with these words, I'll now invite Dr. Sangita Reddy to give us her address, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Let me begin by saying what a pleasure it is to be here. Because I remember the day when our chairman told us that we're going to buy 5 robots. And I remember the look on our finance team's face. It's like, oh my God, sir. And I also remember the look on some of the medical director's face, saying, this cannot happen. What is chairman saying? But he had seen and analyzed that the power of what was happening with robotic surgery, and I think now we started in 2011, 2012, 2011. So from that time, we've done over 12,000 robotic surgeries, and I'm especially happy to say that Dr. Ruma Sinha alone has done 700 out of those 12,000. So very proud of Dr. Ruma. It is also most appropriate that you've created a special society for this, because the use of robotics in gynecological surgery, whether you're doing all the minimally invasive procedures, so you were earlier using laparoscope and the movement from the pure laparoscopic to robotic surgery, whether it's in a fibroid removal or a hysterectomy or a myomectomy, your enhanced access, less bleeding, greater results, finer accuracy and precision, all these have become clearly established. But I think, all the science and the thing we read about the men behind the machines or the women behind the machines, this is one of the most important examples of how the machine is useless without the individual. And therefore, the power of your coming together for training programs like this, for updations, for panel discussions, and everything that your simulated work, everything that you're going to be doing over the next 2 days, and also the continuous dialogue, because you've created this society. So I do want to specially, acknowledge and appreciate everyone who's come together to create this society. Of course, Dr. Ruma Sinha, but Dr. Rama Joshi, Dr. Yogesh Kulkarni, Dr. Anshumala Kulkarni, all of you, congratulations, because you are holding together an important science and evolving it to the next level. It is also my pleasure to acknowledge the presence of our international faculty. I say this often, but I really believe it's very true and worth repeating, that one of the powers of the medical profession is the fact that you continue to share knowledge. When an industry, any industry finds something new, the first thing that they do is they hide it, they patent it, they protect it, and they say this is our wealth. when a doctor finds something new, the beauty is he writes a paper, he talks about it at a conference, and he wants thousands of people to learn, other doctors to learn, so that the knowledge is shared. This is one of the most powerful aspects of the medical profession, and I congratulate you for it, and I think no other profession has this capability, and therefore it is said very much in our Indian mythology and our Indian scriptures that the closest to God is the doctor. And I think it's things like this which make all of you a very special profession. I'm very happy that my youngest son has just graduated from medicine. So finally we have someone carrying on that torch from my father. But beyond that, let me move on to say that today in our midst we also have someone very special, and that is Mr. Jayesh Ranjan. He has, over the last 9 years, guided this state with his vision, his knowledge, his quiet push, his perception about the power of technology and people. And the minister has of course supported him, Mr. K.T. Ramarao. But the power of this continuously pushing entrepreneurship, youth, startups, technology in every way, and large technology companies coming to Hyderabad are really solely to his credit, and I would use this opportunity for all of us to really recognize Mr. Jayesh Ranjan. And he reveres science. BioAsia has become a landmark conference. He reveres knowledge. He continues to reach out and seek and push innovation. And he shared with you what we did with the drones. There are two other fantastic projects happening in Telangana. Number one is that our highways are connected with ambulances which are connected to a central command station. So even if you're 20, 40 kilometers out, you're treated